For decades, millions of Americans have started every morning with the same familiar routine. Walk into the kitchen, brew a cup of coffee, take that first comforting sip without giving it a second thought. But what if the very brands that have earned your trust over generations are quietly exposing you to more than just caffeine? Americans spend more than $110 billion on coffee every year. Yet very few people ever stop to ask what is actually inside their favorite blend. Beyond the rich aroma and comforting taste, many popular brands contain ingredients, production practices, and sourcing decisions that deserve much closer attention. Some are loaded with excessive sugar, others raise concerns about pesticide exposure, questionable farming practices, or a complete lack of transparency. Even more troubling, several companies have built reputations around ethical values that independent investigations have repeatedly challenged. Today, we are taking a careful look at 13 coffee brands that may not deserve a place in your kitchen, followed by 7 brands that continue to earn the trust of health-conscious coffee drinkers. Some of these names dominate grocery store shelves across America. Others have become household favorites for generations. By the end of this video, you may find yourself looking at your morning cup very differently. We begin with one of the biggest names in the entire coffee industry. Number 13. Starbucks. Starbucks controls nearly half of the American coffee shop market and holds a significant share of the global coffee business. The company has spent decades promoting an image built around ethical sourcing, support for coffee farmers, and environmental responsibility. For many customers, that reputation is almost as recognizable as the green logo itself. However, before discussing those promises, let us first look inside the cup. Some of Starbucks' most popular beverages contain astonishing amounts of sugar. A single Java chip Frappuccino delivers roughly 80 grams, more than 3 times the recommended daily limit for most women. Drinks such as the white chocolate mocha and pumpkin spice latte are not far behind. These beverages may taste like dessert, but frequent consumption can contribute to obesity, poor blood sugar control, and cardiovascular disease. The concerns extend beyond the cafe menu. Several instant coffee products contain added sugars and sweeteners that can quickly raise blood glucose levels, making them a less suitable choice for anyone trying to manage diabetes or metabolic health. Then there is the issue that has generated years of controversy. Starbucks frequently highlights its commitment to ethical sourcing, yet independent investigations have uncovered child labor and other human rights concerns on some farms connected to its certified supply chain. While the company has taken steps to address these findings, the gap between its public image and documented problems has left many consumers questioning just how transparent those sustainability claims really are. As disappointing as that may sound, the next brand has spent decades benefiting from something even more powerful than marketing. Nostalgia. Number 12. Folgers. For countless Americans, Folgers is more than coffee. It is the smell of childhood mornings, family breakfasts, and familiar routines. That emotional connection has kept generations of loyal customers coming back year after year. But remove the memories from the equation, and the picture begins to change. In blind taste tests, Folgers consistently struggles to compete with many similarly priced coffees. Despite offering a wide selection of blends and roast varieties, the brand has never built its reputation on exceptional bean quality. There is another concern that deserves attention. None of Folgers' major coffee lines carry organic certification. Considering that coffee remains one of the most heavily pesticide-treated agricultural crops in the world, that absence matters. Conventional farming may leave behind chemical residues, including compounds such as glyphosate, which has been classified as a probable human carcinogen. Does that mean an occasional cup is dangerous? Not necessarily. For most people, moderate consumption is unlikely to create immediate health problems. However, if coffee is something you drink several times every day, choosing beans produced under stricter agricultural standards becomes increasingly important. Environmental responsibility is another area where Folgers falls short, compared with many competitors. The brand offers no comprehensive fair trade certification, no meaningful Rainforest Alliance commitment across its primary lineup, and little independently verified evidence demonstrating consistent ethical sourcing practices. The familiar red container may still remind many people of home, but there are better choices available today for both quality and transparency. Unfortunately, its closest rival shares many of the same weaknesses. Number 11. Maxwell House. Maxwell House has competed with Folgers for generations, and the similarities go well beyond supermarket shelf space. The brand also lacks meaningful organic options and has not embraced major sustainability certifications across its core product lineup. Open a jar of Maxwell House instant coffee, and one of the first things many consumers notice is a distinctly processed aroma. That smell comes largely from the industrial drying methods used during production. Once brewed, many reviewers describe the flavor as flat, stale, or lacking the freshness expected from quality coffee beans. Taste, however, is only part of the discussion. Because Maxwell House provides relatively little sourcing transparency, consumers have limited information about how the beans are grown, harvested, and stored. Poor storage conditions increase the possibility of mold growth, which can lead to the formation of mycotoxins. These naturally occurring compounds have raised concerns among food safety researchers for years, particularly when exposure becomes frequent over long periods. That does not mean every container contains dangerous levels. It simply illustrates why so many nutrition experts recommend buying coffee from companies that openly publish sourcing standards and quality testing practices. And if you think these older brands are the biggest disappointment on today's list, wait until you see what comes next. Before we continue, take a moment to support the channel by tapping the like button and subscribing. It truly helps us continue creating carefully researched videos designed to help you make healthier choices every day. Now, let us move on. Number 10. 80. Clock Coffee. 80. Clock Coffee has been around since long before Maxwell House became a household name. With well over a century of history, many shoppers assume experience automatically guarantees quality. Unfortunately, that is not always the case. The brand still offers few meaningful organic choices, leaving many of the same questions surrounding pesticide exposure, farming practices, and overall transparency. Although portions of its business participate in Rainforest Alliance programs, those standards do not consistently apply across its complete product lineup. Price is often used as an explanation for these compromises. Organic production simply costs more. Yet 80 Clock Coffee is now owned by Tata Group, one of the largest multinational corporations in the world. At that scale, many consumers reasonably expect stronger investments in sustainability and cleaner sourcing. Then there is the drinking experience itself. Many coffee enthusiasts find that these blends require generous amounts of milk or sugar before becoming enjoyable. Instead of naturally balanced flavors, the coffee often comes across as flat, harsh, or one-dimensional. As disappointing as these long-established brands may be, the next entry proves that convenience can sometimes come with an entirely different set of trade-offs. Number 9. Keurig K-Cups. There is no denying why Keurig became such a success. On busy mornings, pressing a single button and having a fresh cup ready in about a minute feels almost effortless. For millions of Americans, that convenience has completely changed the way they drink coffee. But convenience often comes with compromises that are easy to overlook. Coffee needs enough contact time with hot water to release many of its beneficial compounds. Because K-Cups brew so quickly, the extraction process is not always as complete as traditional brewing methods. That means you may miss out on some of the polyphenols naturally found in coffee. These plant compounds are well known for their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties and have been associated with better heart health and improved blood sugar regulation. You may even notice the difference before learning the science. The aroma often feels less vibrant, while the flavor lacks the depth and freshness many coffee lovers expect from recently ground beans. Your wallet also pays a premium for that convenience. Depending on the brand, each K-Cup can cost 5 to 10 times more than brewing coffee from ground beans. There is another issue that receives far less attention. If the machine is not cleaned regularly, moisture trapped inside can encourage mold growth. While proper maintenance greatly reduces this risk, many households simply do not clean their brewers as often as recommended. Then, there is the environmental cost. Billions of single-use coffee pods are discarded every year, adding an enormous amount of waste despite growing recycling efforts. Unfortunately, another premium coffee system promises a more sophisticated experience while facing many of the very same criticisms. Number 8. Nespresso. Nespresso has carefully crafted the image of luxury coffee at home. Elegant machines, sleek aluminum capsules, European branding, and celebrity endorsements all suggest a premium experience that feels a step above ordinary coffee. However, appearance does not always reflect reality. For years, Nespresso limited customers to using its own aluminum capsules, making it difficult for competing brands to enter the market. Only after lengthy legal disputes did the company gradually loosen those restrictions. Its sustainability claims have also faced serious scrutiny. Investigations published in 2020 reported that child labor had been identified on several farms supplying coffee to the company in Guatemala. Those findings cast doubt on the ethical sourcing message that had become central to the brand's identity. Recycling presents another challenge. Although aluminum can technically be recycled, only a relatively small percentage of used Nespresso capsules actually complete that process. The majority still end up in landfills, limiting the environmental benefits the company often promotes. Premium packaging may create the impression of premium responsibility, but critics argue that the reality is far more complicated. Now we move from environmental concerns to something much closer to home: what ends up inside your body. Number 7. Dunkin'. Many Americans no longer associate Dunkin', primarily with donuts. Over the past decade, the company has successfully repositioned itself as an affordable coffee destination, with an enormous menu of beverages. The branding has evolved. The nutrition has not. Some of Dunkin's frozen coffee drinks contain calorie and sugar levels that are difficult to believe. A medium frozen coffee can deliver approximately 720 calories, 10 grams of fat, nearly 200 milligrams of caffeine, and an astonishing 142 grams of sugar. To put that into perspective, that single drink provides several days' worth of added sugar according to most dietary recommendations. Once the syrups, whipped cream, and sweet flavorings disappear, many customers find the coffee itself surprisingly ordinary. Retail products sold in grocery stores often receive similar criticism, with reviewers describing burnt flavors, flat aromas, and an overly processed taste. Large-scale sourcing frequently prioritizes consistency and affordability over exceptional bean quality, and critics argue that this approach often results in coffee produced with conventional farming methods that rely heavily on pesticides. The next brand may be one of the most recognizable names on earth, but its biggest concern has little to do with taste. Number 6. Nescafé. Few coffee companies have reached the global popularity of Nescafé. Every morning, hundreds of millions of people prepare an instant cup without thinking twice about what happens during the manufacturing process. Yet one naturally occurring compound continues to generate discussion among scientists. It is called acrylamide. Acrylamide forms when foods containing carbohydrates or proteins are exposed to very high temperatures during cooking or roasting. Coffee naturally develops some acrylamide during roasting, but instant coffee products generally contain higher concentrations than freshly brewed coffee. The National Cancer Institute classifies acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen, based largely on laboratory evidence. That sounds alarming, but context is important. If you enjoy 1 or 2 cups of instant coffee each day, current evidence does not suggest you should panic. The concern becomes more relevant for people who consume several servings every single day over many years. Taste is another area where Nescafé struggles against many competitors. Independent reviews frequently place it below smaller specialty brands despite the company's enormous resources and global reach. Many drinkers describe the flavor as dull, overly processed, or lacking the complexity that makes freshly roasted coffee enjoyable. Sometimes the world's biggest selling coffee is simply not the most satisfying cup. Number 5. Caffè Bustelo. If bold espresso is your idea of the perfect morning, Caffè Bustelo has probably caught your attention. Its unmistakable yellow and red packaging has earned a loyal following, especially among people who enjoy rich Latin-style coffee without paying specialty coffee prices. That signature intensity, however, comes with a trade-off. Much of Caffè Bustelo's bold flavor comes from Robusta beans. Robusta naturally contains more caffeine than Arabica, giving each cup a stronger kick. Unfortunately, research has also shown that Robusta beans tend to contain higher levels of compounds, such as acrylamide and ochratoxin A. Ochratoxin A is a naturally occurring mycotoxin that has been linked to kidney damage and other health concerns when consumed in excessive amounts over long periods. For the average coffee drinker, there is no reason to panic. These compounds become far more concerning with heavy daily consumption rather than an occasional cup. A more immediate issue is the caffeine itself. A typical 12-ounce serving can provide around 150 milligrams of caffeine, enough to leave some people feeling jittery or restless. If you have acid reflux, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or a sensitive stomach, the coffee's naturally higher acidity may also make those symptoms worse. Another drawback is the absence of meaningful organic certification across its primary product lineup. Considering the company's size and resources, many consumers expected greater transparency about farming practices and sourcing standards. Still, the next brand manages to disappoint for an entirely different reason. Number 4. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. Green Mountain built one of the biggest success stories in modern coffee. After acquiring Keurig in 2006, the company transformed from a relatively modest coffee brand into a multi-billion-dollar industry powerhouse. With that kind of growth came enormous influence. Many consumers assumed Green Mountain would become a leader in environmental responsibility. Instead, the company has faced criticism for making recycling sound much easier than it actually is. In 2024, the Securities and Exchange Commission charged Green Mountain with misleading consumers about the recyclability of its coffee pods. Environmental organizations estimate that only a tiny percentage of those pods are ultimately recycled in the United States. The overwhelming majority end up in landfills, adding billions of discarded capsules every year. Sustainability is not the only question. Much of Green Mountain's coffee lineup also lacks organic certification, leaving consumers with many of the same concerns surrounding pesticide exposure and sourcing transparency found in other large commercial brands. Marketing a product as environmentally responsible carries weight. When those claims fail to match reality, consumer trust becomes much harder to rebuild. The next brand, however, shows that disappointing coffee does not always come from environmental concerns. Sometimes, it is simply about quality. Number 3. Seattle's Best Coffee. When a coffee company calls itself Seattle's Best, expectations naturally rise. After all, Seattle has earned a worldwide reputation as one of America's great coffee cities. Add ownership connections to both Starbucks and Nestle, and most shoppers expect a consistently satisfying cup. Unfortunately, many longtime customers feel the coffee falls well short of that promise. Its flagship medium roast is frequently criticized for tasting darker than intended, with burnt flavors overpowering the natural character of the beans. Instead of smooth chocolate notes or pleasant sweetness, many reviewers describe an unpleasant bitterness that lingers long after the last sip. What makes that criticism even harder to ignore is the competition. Several grocery store brands at similar price points consistently receive higher marks for flavor and freshness. Paying extra does not necessarily guarantee a better experience. Many loyal customers also believe the brand lost much of its identity after becoming part of Nestle. What was once viewed as an independent coffee company gradually became another product inside a massive corporate portfolio. and some drinkers argue the quality declined along the way. Unfortunately, poor flavor is not the most serious concern on today's list. The next coffee became famous by promising extraordinary health benefits. Number 2. Bulletproof coffee. Few coffee trends exploded as quickly as bulletproof coffee. The idea sounded simple enough. Blend coffee with grass-fed butter or medium-chain triglyceride oil, and you supposedly unlock incredible mental focus, effortless weight loss, and long-lasting energy. Those claims attracted millions of followers. Scientific evidence, however, tells a much more measured story. The drink can certainly help you feel full for longer, but much of that effect comes from the large amount of added fat rather than any special property of the coffee itself. One serving may contain roughly 441 calories and more than 50 grams of fat, much of it saturated fat. By comparison, the American Heart Association recommends limiting saturated fat intake to around 13 grams per day for many adults. Consuming that much saturated fat on a regular basis may raise LDL cholesterol, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke over time. Coffee has long been associated with potential cardiovascular benefits when enjoyed in moderation. Turning it into a high-fat meal may work against many of those advantages, especially for older adults already managing cholesterol or heart conditions. Our final brand takes a completely different approach. Instead of promoting health, it proudly advertises extreme caffeine, and that may be its biggest warning sign. Number 1. Death Wish Coffee. Some companies choose names that sound comforting. Others try to evoke tradition or craftsmanship. Death Wish Coffee went in the opposite direction, building its entire identity around one message: this is the strongest coffee you can buy. That promise is exactly what attracts many customers. The company blends Robusta and Arabica beans to create an exceptionally high caffeine content. A standard 12-ounce serving can contain anywhere from 650 to more than 700 milligrams of caffeine. To put that into perspective, that is well above the amount many health experts consider a reasonable upper daily limit for most healthy adults. Many loyal fans celebrate the immediate energy surge. They describe feeling alert within minutes and praise the coffee for helping them power through long workdays. But there is another side to that experience. Excessive caffeine can place considerable stress on the cardiovascular system. For someone with high blood pressure, an undiagnosed heart condition, anxiety, or sensitivity to stimulants, consuming that much caffeine at once may lead to heart palpitations, elevated blood pressure, severe nervousness, or other unwanted reactions. For older adults, whose bodies often process caffeine more slowly, those effects may last much longer than expected. This brand has also faced safety concerns unrelated to caffeine itself. In 2017, the United States Food and Drug Administration announced a recall of Death Wish Nitro Cold Brew after concerns that improper processing could create conditions allowing the growth of bacteria responsible for botulism. Although the issue was addressed, the incident served as a reminder that even premium coffee companies are not immune to serious quality control failures. Coffee should leave you feeling refreshed and ready for the day ahead. It should never leave you wondering whether your next cup is pushing your body beyond its limits. Before we move on to the brands that deserve your attention, there is one more company that has successfully convinced millions of Americans they were supporting something uniquely patriotic. The story behind that brand is more complicated than most people realize. Bonus brand, Black Rifle Coffee Company. Black Rifle Coffee Company entered the market in 2014 with a clear identity. Founded by former Green Beret Evan Hafer, the company wrapped itself in patriotic branding, military-inspired product names, and a strong message of supporting veterans. That formula resonated with millions of consumers and quickly turned the company into one of America's fastest-growing coffee brands. There is no question that the marketing worked. The bigger question is whether the coffee itself lives up to the image. One of the first concerns is the lack of meaningful organic certification across much of its core lineup. For health-conscious consumers, that raises familiar questions about pesticide exposure, farming practices, and overall sourcing transparency. More recently, The company has also faced legal challenges surrounding its branding. A federal class action lawsuit filed in late 2025 alleges that Black Rifle America Coffee messaging and prominent American flag imagery give consumers the impression the coffee is sourced or produced domestically, despite the beans being grown and processed outside the United States. The company disputes those claims, but the lawsuit has intensified public scrutiny. The legal issues do not stop there. Since becoming a publicly traded company, Black Rifle has been involved in multiple lawsuits while also facing significant financial difficulties. By early 2026, its stock price had fallen dramatically, leading to a warning from the New York Stock Exchange regarding continued listing requirements. Then there is the coffee itself. Many independent reviewers who look beyond the branding describe the flavor as average at best. Several compare it to Starbucks, while others argue that even the lighter roasts carry an unpleasant burnt character that overwhelms the beans. Natural sweetness. Strong branding can build a loyal customer base, but branding alone cannot improve what ends up in your coffee cup. Now that we have examined the brands raising the most concerns, it is time for the good news. Not every company cuts corners. Not every producer sacrifices quality for profit. Some coffee brands continue to invest in cleaner farming, higher quality beans, greater transparency, and ethical partnerships with the farmers who grow their coffee. Those are the 7 brands we will explore next, and several of them may surprise you. 7 coffee brands worth bringing home. After looking at companies that prioritize convenience, marketing, or profit over quality, you may be wondering whether truly clean coffee still exists. The encouraging answer is yes. The brands on the rest of this list are not perfect, but they consistently perform better where it matters most. They invest in higher quality beans, stronger sourcing standards, greater transparency, and in many cases, meaningful organic and ethical certifications. If protecting your health is just as important as enjoying your morning cup, these are the names worth knowing. Let us begin with a company that quietly maintains exceptionally high standards. Number 7. Blue Bottle Coffee. Blue Bottle Coffee may not generate the same excitement it did a decade ago, especially after being acquired by Nestle in 2017. Some longtime customers worried that the company's commitment to quality would slowly disappear under corporate ownership. Fortunately, that has not happened. Blue Bottle continues to hold itself to standards that exceed much of the specialty coffee industry. While many specialty roasters accept beans scoring 80 points or higher on the Specialty Coffee Association grading scale, Blue Bottle generally selects coffees scoring at least 84 points. That difference may sound small, but it reflects stricter quality control from the very beginning of the supply chain. The result is immediately noticeable in the cup. Rather than heavy bitterness or smoky over roasting, Blue Bottle coffees are known for bright aromas, vibrant flavors, and remarkable clarity. Whether you prefer citrus notes, floral characteristics, or gentle chocolate sweetness, the coffee allows those natural flavors to shine, instead of covering them with aggressive roasting. Health-conscious shoppers will also appreciate another advantage. Blue Bottle offers several USDA-certified organic coffees while maintaining strong commitments to fair trade and responsible farmer compensation. Those partnerships help support growers while giving consumers greater confidence in how the beans are produced. You will likely pay a little more than you would for a supermarket brand. In return, you receive cleaner sourcing, carefully selected beans, and a noticeably more refined coffee experience. If Blue Bottle represents premium specialty coffee, the next brand proves that affordability and quality can sometimes go hand in hand. Number 6. McCafe. Few people expected McDonald's to become a respected name in retail coffee. When McCafe products first appeared in grocery stores during the 1990s, they were inexpensive but rarely impressed serious coffee drinkers. The flavor was ordinary, and the reputation reflected that. Over time, something changed. Following major improvements to its coffee program and later collaborations involving Keurig Dr. Pepper, McCafe steadily improved both consistency and flavor. Even many longtime critics now acknowledge that the brand delivers surprisingly enjoyable coffee for the price. Instead of harsh bitterness, McAfee offers a smooth, balanced profile, with gentle chocolate notes and subtle fruit flavors depending on the roast you choose. It is approachable, easy to drink, and consistently receives strong reviews from everyday consumers shopping at stores such as Walmart and other major retailers. Another welcome surprise is variety. Whether you prefer traditional ground coffee, whole beans, or convenient K-cup pods, McAfee offers multiple formats to fit different brewing styles. Several product lines also carry USDA organic certification, giving health-conscious buyers additional choices that many large commercial brands still do not provide. No coffee is perfect. If your goal is an exceptionally bold espresso with intense caffeine, McAfee may feel a little too mild. But for most people looking for a dependable everyday coffee that balances quality, value, and accessibility, it has earned its place on this list. The next company has been doing exactly that for well over a century. Number 5. Lavazza. Very few coffee companies have managed to stay relevant for more than a century without compromising their reputation. Lavazza is one of those rare exceptions. Founded in Italy in 1895, the company has remained a favorite among espresso lovers while continuing to evolve with changing consumer expectations. Today, it commands a significant share of the Italian coffee market and has earned loyal customers around the world. What keeps people coming back is consistency. Whether you brew it in a traditional mocha pot, a modern espresso machine, or even a compatible capsule system, Lavazza delivers the same smooth, balanced flavor cup after cup. Instead of overwhelming bitterness, you get a pleasant combination of chocolate notes, gentle sweetness, and a rich aroma that fills the room before you even take your first sip. That consistency is difficult to achieve on a global scale. Many long-established brands eventually sacrifice quality in favor of mass production, but Lavazza has largely avoided that trap. Independent reviewers continue to rank it among the most dependable supermarket coffee brands available. The company has also made meaningful progress beyond flavor alone. An increasing number of Lavazza products now carry organic certification, or Rainforest Alliance certification, reflecting stronger commitments to responsible farming and more sustainable sourcing. While not every blend meets those standards, the company's direction has clearly moved toward greater transparency. Perhaps the most surprising part is the price. Lavazza often delivers a coffee experience comparable to many specialty roasters while remaining affordable enough for everyday drinking. It proves that exceptional coffee does not always require spending premium boutique prices. If supporting ethical farming is your highest priority, however, the next company raises the standard even further. Number 4. Equal Exchange Organic. Imagine knowing exactly where your coffee comes from, who grew it, and whether those farmers received fair compensation for their work. That level of transparency is exactly what Equal Exchange has built its reputation upon. Founded in 1986, Equal Exchange operates as a worker-owned cooperative rather than a traditional corporation. Instead of purchasing coffee through complex international supply chains, the company works directly with small farmer cooperatives across Latin America, Africa, and Asia. This approach creates something many larger brands struggle to provide: accountability. Every coffee in the company's lineup carries USDA organic certification and fair trade certification, verified through independent organizations rather than company marketing. Consumers who value responsible sourcing can purchase their coffee with far greater confidence. The benefits extend beyond ethics. Many loyal customers praise Equal Exchange for producing coffee that is naturally smooth, balanced, and surprisingly gentle on the stomach. The breakfast blend, in particular, has developed a reputation for being enjoyable, even first thing in the morning before eating. Choosing organic coffee also helps reduce concerns about pesticide exposure and encourages farming methods that support healthier soil and ecosystems. There is one downside. Compared with mass-market brands, Equal Exchange usually costs more per bag. But for many people, paying a few extra dollars feels worthwhile when the money supports both higher quality coffee and the families who grow it. Our next recommendation offers an impressive balance between quality, affordability, and widespread availability. Number 3. Peet's Coffee. Some coffee brands excel in one category while falling behind in others. Peet's Coffee manages to perform remarkably well across almost every area. It may not always be the absolute leader in taste, sustainability, or price individually, but few mainstream brands combine all three as consistently as Peet's. One area where the company deserves particular recognition is decaffeinated coffee. Many conventional decaf products rely on chemical solvents during processing, including methylene chloride, a substance that has generated health concerns for years. Peet's takes a different approach by using water processing methods for several of its decaffeinated coffees, helping preserve flavor without relying on those chemical solvents. The difference is noticeable. Instead of tasting flat or lifeless, Peet's decaf maintains much of the body, aroma, and richness people expect from regular coffee. That is one reason it continues receiving praise from food experts and coffee reviewers alike. Its regular coffees perform just as well. Major Dickinson's blend remains one of the company's most celebrated roasts, offering deep chocolate notes, gentle smokiness, and a smooth finish without the burnt bitterness found in many commercial dark roasts. Peet's is certainly not the cheapest coffee on supermarket shelves, but when you consider its flavor, sourcing standards, and commitment to quality across both regular and decaffeinated products, it represents excellent value for anyone seeking a healthier daily cup. The next company, however, has earned its reputation almost entirely through extraordinary taste. Number 2. Intelligentsia Coffee. Every coffee company claims to offer exceptional flavor. Very few can support that promise with independent testing. When Consumer Reports conducted blind taste evaluations of 27 medium roast coffees, Intelligentsia finished at the top of the rankings. Other respected reviewers, including Food Network and the Spruce Eats, have consistently praised the brand for its balance, complexity, and consistency. That kind of recognition is difficult to earn, especially in an industry crowded with premium competitors. Outstanding flavor, however, is only part of the reason Intelligentsia belongs on this list. Since its founding more than 3 decades ago, the company has built its reputation on sourcing coffee with the same level of care that it roasts it. Many of its blends, single, origin coffees, espresso offerings, and decaffeinated varieties carry USDA organic certification. At a time when many of the largest coffee companies still avoid comprehensive organic programs, that commitment speaks volumes. The company also embraces a direct trade model. Rather than relying on layers of middlemen, Intelligentsia works directly with coffee producers, building long-term relationships and paying premium prices for exceptional harvests. Farmers benefit from greater financial stability, while customers gain far more transparency about where their coffee originates. That investment pays off in every cup. The brand's popular Black Cat Espresso has become something of a benchmark among coffee enthusiasts. Rich chocolate notes, balanced sweetness, and a remarkably smooth finish create a coffee that rivals what you would expect from an excellent neighborhood cafe. Premium coffee naturally comes with a higher price tag. But when outstanding flavor, cleaner sourcing, and ethical partnerships all come together in one package, many coffee drinkers consider it money well spent. Still, there is one company that pushes quality and transparency even further. Number 1. Purity Coffee. If your primary goal is finding the healthiest coffee possible, Purity Coffee deserves serious consideration. Unlike many brands that simply advertise clean ingredients, Purity backs nearly every claim with independent certifications and scientific testing. Its coffee carries USDA Organic Certification, Rainforest Alliance Certification, Bird-Friendly Certification, and Demeter Biodynamic Certification, one of the highest standards in regenerative organic agriculture. Those certifications represent much more than attractive labels on a package. Purity sources only single, origin, shade, grown Arabica beans from regenerative farms that avoid synthetic fertilizers and prioritize healthy ecosystems. Every step of production is designed to protect both the environment and the quality of the final product. The roasting process follows that same philosophy. Rather than focusing solely on bold flavor, Purity carefully roasts its beans to preserve naturally occurring antioxidants while maintaining a smooth, low bitterness profile. The result is a coffee that many health-conscious consumers find easier to enjoy every day. Unlike trendy products built around exaggerated health claims, Purity emphasizes evidence-based practices. The company focuses on minimizing contaminants, preserving beneficial plant compounds, and maintaining exceptional bean quality instead of relying on flashy marketing promises. The finished cup reflects that attention to detail. It is smooth without tasting weak, flavorful without excessive bitterness, and clean enough to appeal to people who want their morning coffee to support, rather than undermine, a healthy lifestyle. When one company consistently combines exceptional flavor, responsible farming, rigorous testing, and complete transparency, it becomes much easier to understand why so many coffee enthusiasts consider Purity the gold standard for health-focused coffee. That said, 2 additional brands deserve recognition. They narrowly missed the main rankings, but they continue to demonstrate the same commitment to quality, clean sourcing, and transparency that every coffee drinker should appreciate. Bonus recommendation number 1. Life Boost Coffee. Many companies tell you their coffee is clean. Life Boost shows you the proof. Every batch is USDA organic certified, non-GMO verified, and independently tested for mycotoxins, heavy metals, pesticide residues, and hundreds of other potential contaminants. In an industry where many brands reveal very little about what is actually in their coffee, that level of openness is remarkably uncommon. The beans themselves begin with an excellent foundation. Life Boost uses single origin, specialty grade, 100% Arabica coffee grown at high elevations under natural shade in Central America. Those growing conditions naturally reduce the likelihood of mold contamination long before laboratory testing even begins. The company also pays close attention to acidity. Many people with sensitive stomachs find conventional coffee difficult to tolerate. Life Boost's roasting approach creates a noticeably lower, acid cup while still preserving the antioxidants and rich flavors coffee lovers expect. Its decaffeinated coffee deserves special mention as well. Instead of relying on chemical solvents, Life Boost uses the Swiss water process, allowing caffeine to be removed without exposing the beans to substances such as methylene chloride. Yes, Life Boost costs more than ordinary supermarket coffee, but for consumers who prioritize purity, laboratory testing, and complete transparency, it offers something very few competitors can match. Bonus recommendation number 2. Stumptown Coffee Roasters. Some companies only began talking about ethical sourcing after consumers started demanding it. Stumptown Coffee Roasters was practicing it long before it became a marketing strategy. Founded in 1999, the company helped pioneer the direct trade model in the coffee industry, building long-term relationships with growers instead of purchasing through anonymous commodity markets. Rather than chasing the lowest possible price, Stumptown rewards farmers who consistently produce exceptional beans, creating partnerships that often last for many years. That commitment is measurable. More than 90% of the company's coffee purchases now come from producer relationships that have continued for at least 3 consecutive years. Instead of relying solely on promotional claims, Stumptown also works with Enveritas, an independent nonprofit organization that evaluates coffee supply chains using dozens of sustainability and ethical performance standards. For consumers, that means far greater confidence in where the coffee comes from and how the people growing it are treated. Fortunately, the quality in the cup matches the quality behind the scenes. One of Stumptown's most popular offerings, Holler Mountain Blend, combines organically grown coffees from East Africa, Central America, and South America. The result is a remarkably balanced cup with bright citrus notes, subtle berry sweetness, and a smooth caramel finish that appeals to both experienced coffee enthusiasts and everyday drinkers. Independent reviewers have noticed as well. Consumer Reports ranked Stumptown among the highest, performing medium roasts in its blind taste evaluations, reinforcing the company's reputation for delivering both consistency and exceptional flavor. Another advantage is accessibility. Although Stumptown offers specialty-level quality, it remains reasonably priced compared with many boutique coffee roasters. You can also find it at major retailers, including Whole Foods, Target, Amazon, and numerous grocery stores across the country, making it much easier to enjoy premium coffee without searching for a local specialty cafe. For many people, Stumptown represents the perfect middle ground. It delivers cleaner sourcing than many supermarket brands, richer flavor than most mass-market coffees, and a price that remains realistic for everyday use. And that brings us to the end of today's list. The coffee industry offers more choices than ever before, but not every bag on the shelf deserves your trust. Attractive packaging, familiar logos, and decades of advertising do not necessarily guarantee cleaner ingredients, ethical sourcing, or better flavor. The encouraging news is that you do not have to settle. By choosing brands that value transparency, responsible farming, rigorous quality standards, and exceptional beans, you are investing not only in a better tasting cup of coffee, but also in your long-term health and the communities that grow it. If your morning always begins with coffee, make that habit work for you instead of against you. If you found this guide helpful, please let us know by giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Every week, we share carefully researched videos designed to help older adults make smarter choices about food, nutrition, and healthy living, without the confusing marketing or exaggerated claims. Finally, tell us in the comments, which coffee brand is your favorite, and did any of today's rankings surprise you? We would love to hear your experience. And if you think coffee is the only breakfast staple you need to worry about, think again. In our next video, we uncover 13 bacon brands that many shoppers continue buying without realizing what is really inside the package, along with healthier alternatives that deserve a place on your breakfast table. You may never look at the bacon aisle the same way again.